Okay, so let me try some Boolean stuff. So what's a Boolean again?
True or false.
Boolean is a variable that stores either true or false. So I'm going to make a Boolean, and I'm going to call it shit, I don't know. I didn't have a creative thing. Cat. Actually, I'm gonna call this do. So I'm gonna make a Boolean that I'm gonna call do. This is a kind of a crappy variable choice in some languages because do sometimes means something, but I'm gonna use that to mean what the English do means anyway. So I'm gonna set this equal to true to start with. Okay. So I've got some Windows setup stuff that I'm just going to ignore for right now. And then underneath this someplace, I'm going to give a statement here, which is if. Oh, and it really hates that idea. It's like, don't do that. It's a terrible idea to put if in your lecture right now. It's just telling me to delete it. So here's how ifs work. So if is literally a statement about if a condition, then it's going to do something. So if, and then you put a condition in parentheses, and then you put curly braces, and you put the thing you want done if that's true in the curly braces. So I'm going to use do to be my condition, right? So if do, then I should do something. So I'm going to print, and I'm going to print line, right? Because we just got an upgrade on our print command. And what are we going to print? I'm going to print my string variable word. You guys all cool with that? Do I need to give this coordinates?
No, it's on the
Yeah, this is compiler print, not text box print. So if do is true, then we're going to print word out in the kind of in the line, in the command line or whatever this thing is. Okay, so do is true, right? So we printed out blah blah.
You initialize it. Boolean to be true.
And I initialized it to be true. So what if I initialize it to be false? Nice. Then I expect absolutely nothing to happen. Well, that's not really true. I expect it to create a big blank window, right? But I expect nothing to appear in the print line. Okay, so how do I check whether the program's working at all? Okay, I could block comment this thing, so I could select the whole thing and... Wait a second. Well, how is that going to be different than what I had just a second ago? It's not. It's not going to be different. If I just want to check that it's actually printing to the compiler, I could just print something else, right? So I could print out do just to see. Okay, so it's printing false, and then it's not doing this other part because that thing's false. Okay, so let me try yet another thing. So Chris was asking, what if you're not sure if two variables are equal and you want to check? Right, so up here I have Steve and Mal and Bill, right? So Bill was 0. So let me put into my if Bill, so if Bill equals Steve plus Mal, and this isn't gonna work. What is it whining about now? Come on. You guys see what it's complaining about? Float does not match with type Boolean. What do you mean Boolean? The do's way up there.
You need a Boolean in your if.
Yeah, the if needs to be, if this is true, it'll do it. If it's false, it won't. This thing has right now, if, a variable assignment, right?
So if you
So I think what I need to do is test. So the way you test is you add a second equal sign. So now this is going to say, if Bill is actually equal to Steve plus Mal, then it'll do this print line word. So it'll print out blah, blah. What do I expect this to be?
Word.
So is Bill equal to Steve plus Mal? Let me make what it's printing out more obvious. Oops. Not the right thing. Bill equals Steve plus Mal. You see how it doesn't have a problem with that?
print
It's
it.
just printing.
Yeah, so is this going to print Bill as 0 and Steve as 7 and Mal as 3.14?
No, it'll just print Bill equals Steve plus Mal.
Yeah, this is literally going to print the words Bill equals Steve plus Mal, right? So the double quotes, right, force it to be a string, right? So it's a whole bunch of characters. There are a couple things you can put in there that'll get you interesting results, but these aren't any of them. So do I expect Bill to equal Steve plus Mal?
No.
Here with what Bill is.
Bill's 0. Steve plus Mal is going to be 10.4 or 10.14. Yeah. So I expect this to do,
No.
well, I expect it to print false because I have it still printing out what do is, right? I didn't really mean to have that, so I'm going to comment it out. Okay, so it's not doing anything because it's not true. So what if I made Bill equal to 10.14? Ah, look. Bill is equal to Steve plus Mal. Why is it printing that?
It's true.
Because it's true. It's right here. You guys cool with that? Okay, so this is what Booleans are good for, right? They're good for turning things on and off, right? So if Boolean condition, then, right? So if, then a Boolean condition in parentheses, and then some stuff you intend it to do in curly braces. It is good coding practice to indent these. It probably doesn't matter. Processing is a little bit lenient on tabbing and indenting. Some languages are not. It is easier to get in good habits now. It also makes your code more readable. You guys all good with this as an idea?
Why are there two equal signs?
Cool. So to review, if there's one equal sign, like if I pull this chunk out and put it up here, let me go back up and change Bill back to 0. Okay, so right now, Steve is 7, Bill is 0, Mal is 10.4. Thank you. Please note, it's whining about this stuff because there's no semicolon.
Well, since Bill does not exist.
It says Bill does not exist.
Rest in peace.
You guys see why Bill doesn't exist?
It's all about the maps.
Yeah, because I capitalized all of Bill here and I didn't capitalize all of it there. For the record, capitalizing your variables is probably dumb. Should use that camelback thing. So leave the first word lowercase. The reason for that is that later we're going to have a variable, well, it's kind of a variable called an object, and objects are going to want to be capitalized their first letter. So that's how you tell them apart. Right. So for static variables, just lowercase. Yeah, I really should exhibit better coding. Okay. Wait. Bill was 0, Steve was 7, and Mal was 10.4.
But you overwrote it.
Okay, I overwrote it. You guys see that right here? This line says take Bill and set Bill equal to Steve plus Mal. And then this line down here is asking if Bill is equal to Steve plus Mal, then print Bill equals Steve plus Mal. Is all good with that? So it's getting in there because I reassigned. So that's the difference between the single equal sign. A single equal sign is a variable assignment, right? That's setting the variable you had equal to this other stuff. The double equal sign is testing. Is that variable actually equal to this stuff? It's good with that? Okay, cool. Let's see. That should get us started on variable types, I think. Questions on variables? Okay, cool. Kick ass.